Have you ever read something, just a handful of words, that completely stops you in your tracks? Something that captures a feeling you thought only you had? Well, that's the magic we're getting into today. We're going to explore World Poetry Day and figure out why this ancient art form is honestly more important than ever.
This line right here, it just nails it. Poetry isn't some stuffy academic thing with a bunch of rules. No, it's about something way more fundamental. It's about the pulse, the rhythm in the way we talk, the words we pick when we're trying to talk about love or loss or just wonder. And as we'll see, that timeless power doesn't just shape art, it shapes how we see ourselves.
All right, so let's get into it. What are we really celebrating here? I mean, beyond just putting a day on the calendar, what's the whole point of a day dedicated to poetry?
Okay, so on one level, it's basically a global call to action. It's about supporting the entire life cycle of a poem, from that first little spark of an idea in someone's head, all the way to a classroom where a new generation gets to experience it for the first time. The goal is to create this whole world, this ecosystem where poetry can really, truly thrive. But it's about so much more than just the nuts and bolts. This day is really a tribute to poetry's kind of magical ability. I mean, think about it. What other art form can take a huge, complicated emotion or maybe even a whole lifetime of experiences and boil it down to just a few perfect lines? That's the real magic, isn't it? Its power to just capture the human spirit. Of course, art doesn't just create itself, right? That power we were just talking about? Well, it has to be harnessed by someone. And that brings us to the craftspeople behind it all, the poets. So yeah, this isn't just about celebrating some abstract idea. It's about honoring the actual people who take all the raw, messy, beautiful stuff of being human and skillfully weave it into something that makes sense, something that lasts. They really are the artisans of our language. And if you were to look inside a poet's toolkit, you'd find these three core things. It all kicks off with raw emotion, that feeling that we can all connect with. But then the poet uses their imagination to give that feeling a brand new shape, a whole world for it to live in. And finally, they use that combination to hunt for a deeper truth, something that echoes way beyond the page. These aren't just ingredients, they're the forces that come together to make a poem truly powerful. So what happens when a poet pulls this off? When they actually manage to blend emotion, imagination, and truth? Well, the poem becomes a connection. It literally builds a bridge between worlds, and in more ways than one. And this is such a great way to picture it. Think of it connecting us vertically, through time, right? The words from some ancient epic can hit you just as hard as a modern slam poem. But it also connects us horizontally, across cultures. A poem can cross any border, connecting people's hearts and helping us feel empathy for someone whose life is totally different from our own. It's a truly universal language. And this connection isn't just some lofty idea. It happens for real in places like coffee shops, libraries, and community centers all over the world. You go to a poetry reading or an open mic night, and strangers suddenly become collaborators. They're sharing their stories and building a real community, one verse at a time. And the impact these get-togethers have is just huge. Look at this, the biggest piece of the pie, a whopping 40%, is sparking new creativity in people. Almost as much, 35%, is about giving people a space for quiet reflection. And a full quarter is pure inspiration, which can lead to real action. It just goes to show you, poetry isn't something you just sit back and consume. It's an active, living force in a community. So this all leads us to our final section. Now that we know all this, how do we keep the spirit of World Poetry Day going? Well, it's going to take a little commitment from all of us. See, this day isn't just about sitting back and appreciating poetry from a distance. It's an invitation. It's asking each of us to make a promise, a kind of pledge, to be active guardians of this art form, to make sure it doesn't just survive, but that it actually thrives for the next generation. It's a responsibility we all share. So, what does this promise actually look like? Well, it's a pretty straightforward three-part pledge. First, we cherish poetry. That means more than just reading it. We have to share it, pass on the verses that really move us. Second, we nurture the art by supporting the artists themselves, the living, breathing poets of today who are keeping it fresh. And finally, we keep language alive by seeking out and celebrating voices from all kinds of different backgrounds, because every single culture adds another unique color to the whole tapestry of human expression. And so that brings us to this final personal question. Knowing its power to connect us, to inspire us, to capture what it means to be human, what verse will you carry forward? Which words will you choose to keep alive?